V8 Supercars as we welcome you live to round 4 of the Talk Creek Racing Touring Car Championship live on Glacier TV. Wolverhampton with the newbie Oscar Hardwick making his Glacier TV debut. You may have seen him many times before in Little Speed and R Factor, making his first appearance here on iRacing in the commentary booth for Glacier TV. Oscar, how you doing?
I'm not doing too bad, thanks. Very nice to be in the commentary booth today. All nice and shiny compared to the other ones I've been in, obviously.
So we are here at Mid-Ohio for what will be 30 minutes of intense racing. We're going to go through the grid very quickly momentarily. In the V8 Supercars, we are going to start with... not going to start with them at all. What we're going to do is we're going to start with the Cadillac class, and in the Cadillac class, Mark Fletcher is the first guy on the grid with a 1 minute 21.600, and then Frederick Follestad lining up alongside him in row number 1 with 1 minute 21.609, just 9/1000ths of a second between these two guys on the grid. Nick Vestigi in 3rd, Kevin Vickmans in 3rd, Joe Jr. in 5th, Adam Terry in 6th, Andy Kay is in the 7th position with Sean Lees in 8th, Roderick Krugman in 9th position, Stefan Coppins in 10th, and Simon Guyman rounding out your Cadillac field. And then in the V8 Supercars, Rens Broekman setting the pace once again in that number 84 machine with Thomas Van Brussel in 2nd, Dave Guyman in 3rd, Fabian J in 4th, Peter Ridley in 5th, and then Marius Christensen in 6th. And then Andy Goodison, Robert Lowry, Simon Hill, Danny Burris, Christian Nielsen, Andrew Streetley. And then we've also got Robert Burton, Andy Griffiths, and William Pioneer as well. And Oscar, one of the key points of this race is that less than 24 hours ago, we got a humongous update to the V8 Supercar, which has completely thrown all the setups out of the water.
Yeah, well, we're talking fairly recently, and obviously everyone's been talking today about the V8 Supercar. Very big whenever a new car gets a time model, especially when iRacing choose to release it early, mid-season. It's thrown everyone's times down a second or two everywhere, but that's not the real talking point. It's that the driving style for the car's changed, and so I think everyone's just, been walking on ice today with the car, and it's impressive to see guys already turning laps consistently like this. So people like Rens and Thomas right up at the front in the V8 Supercar pack, you've got to give them props for doing as well as they have done already.
Yeah, and the point to note is that Rens Broekman even last week in that number 84 machine, he was in the middle of the Cadillac field. He was kind of second a lap faster than everyone else and was able to get himself in the middle of that Cadillac class. But this week he's 2 seconds a lap slower, and Mid-Ohio, because it's so difficult and technical, it doesn't give us really a true indication of the difference in lap times compared to what we're used to seeing. But this is going to be a very interesting race, as a lot of these drivers have done a lot of testing, but they're not going to know how their cars are handling on the long runs.
Yeah, very true. I mean, whilst this race isn't very long, we know that the new tyre model, the tyre degrades immediately. You're always struggling with how the tyre feels and how much heat you're putting through it. Another challenge that's only a temporary one is that the back half of that Ford Falcon grid is starting around the corner, so they've got to get what's already a live rear axle powerful car off the line through a corner, so that might be where to watch the action on the start. Well, nearing the start now, nearing the lights. The adrenaline for the drivers must be building at this stage.
Yeah, sorry, and don't forget you can use the hashtag TFR TCC on Twitter if you'd like to get through to us. The lights are on. We're going to go to the green flag racing any moment now. Mark Fletcher in 3rd, Frederick Follestad in 2nd. Green flag in the air. We are racing here at Mid-Ohio.
Oh, and there's already someone off the V8 Supercar pack, 3 right at the front.
Yeah, having a look through turn number 1. This turn number 1 is oh so tricky, a 90-degree left-hander, but it's so far through the apex of it, you've got to be so careful. And for the most part, it does look as though everyone's been able to get through okay. Immediately, Mark Fletcher and Frederick Follestad are into the keyhole. I see Joe Jr. there getting around Nick Vestigi in the battle for the 3rd position. behind them. It looks as though they're too wide through the V8 class to come through, but for the most part, everyone is okay at the moment as Mark Fletcher is leading the way through down now into the S's. And you see that Andy Kay, he's putting a lot of pressure on Adam Terry in that number 24 sim spin machine. As you see, they're just ahead of him. That was, I believe, Kevin Beekman's getting it sideways. He's lost the complete balance of his car. He's off the racetrack on the S's, and he is off the track. Beekman's in the number 7 machine. That is going to be hugely disappointing for him, as he was at the point running in the 5th position.
Massively disappointing. We had Andy Griffiths go off at the back of the V8 supercar pack further, well, pretty much at the same point there, so they're now going to be close together. And I guess the big thing for Viekmans is that he's now got to fight his way through all the V8s that are going a lot slower than he is.
So yeah, Viekmans is currently sat behind Robert Burton, so he has dropped back so far in this race that he is going to have to drive his life out just to get himself back into the top 5 position. As you see ahead of Burton now, William Pioneer and Peter Ridley going side by side. Ridley, he's been tapped keys into the wall there. Ridley's going 3 wide ahead of him. Coming off the final corner, I believe that was William Pioneer just giving a little bit of a love tap coming through that final corner as they're almost 3 wide again, going through turn number 1. But Andy Kay has also dropped it as well in that Cadillac. And the number 43 Radical machine is continuing to have a difficult season here, as Andy Kerstoff is currently sat down in pit lane, with also Mark Fletcher as well being relegated back from the lead into the 5th position.
I don't know if this is picked up, but our, what was that, 2nd position man for the Cadillacs is currently in pit lane, Frederick Follestad. I don't know what's gone on there, maybe he missed the start, or was involved in some sort of coming together on the first lap.
So, Frederick Follestad, Mark Fletcher and Andy Kerstoff are all currently having issues on the racetrack. Your race leader now is Nick Fastigi in the number 48 Radical Steel Series car. He is leading as he completes lap number 2 by a gap of about 1.5 seconds from his teammate Joe Jr. in the number 17 machine. The gap between them is 1.7 seconds. Sean Lee's currently sat in the 3rd position, rounding out the Radicals 1, 2, 3, with Adam Terry there getting sideways in turn number 1 in the number 24 car. In that sin-spin car, he has lost himself 4 positions there, as he was riding in the 4th position, losing it on the apex in turn number 1, as he was trying to make a move there on Sean Lee's, getting a little bit overcooked in the apex of the corner. That has allowed Roger Croonan and Mark Fletcher and Devin Coppins and Simon Guymar to all get past him. And you see that Adam Terry is now trying to work his way around Renz Broekman, who's leading in the V8 Supercar class. Well,
this is a touring car league, and it's not disappointed so far. People going off left, right and centre, and action all the way.
Yeah, and I'm just having a look at Stephen Coppins in the number 81 Torque Peak Racing machine. I see ahead of him, 2 wide, you see Mark Fletcher and Roderick Croonan going side by side for the moment. Fletcher trying to make the move, not being able to do so as they come down now into Thunder Valley. We haven't talked about the ridiculous United States corner names here, but they're coming down into Thunder Valley, into the penultimate corner, and then once again they've got like carousel to go through. Fletcher, after starting from the pole in this race, has been relegated down to the 6th position, so side by side into corner. Oh. Fletcher's lost it! Fletcher's lost it in that number 15 car. He is going to have to wait now. He's going to have to let all the V8s go past him, as he's so close. He's going to go another way to spin that car around, and he's losing so much ground here in that number 15 machine. It is pretty much game over for Fletcher there. Starting from the pole in this race, he's been relegated already into the 16th position behind so many V8 supercars, and Oscar, he just had to wait there as the V8 was storming past him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure that was, well, obviously being moved back at the start, it's down to bad luck. He just looked to be a bit too agitated with being that far back, and he's overcooked it there. It's so unfortunate, and with this lead, so many big names, mainly in the Cadillac field, have already been put backwards down the order or have been backwards themselves. Now we're just hearing that Frederick Follestad, who was our 2nd position man, is out, not out of the race, but may well be. Mark Spurn is expecting him to keep spinning, and Mark Fletcher's calling it a day. He's pulled over at the side of the straight, and yeah,
he's out. So Mark Fletcher, after starting from the pole, is now out of this race to run through your top 5 in the Cadillac field as they're completing lap number 4. We are already 6-7 minutes into this race. Nick Vestigi, here's your race leader, and the number 48 Steel Series Radicals machine. Joe Jr. in the same team, the number 17 is in second position. Sean Lees in number 35 machine is rounding out a Radicals 1, 2, 3 at the moment. In the number 35 machine, with Roderick Cronin in fourth position, yet again in the Radicals car, and then Stephen Coppins leading the Torque Trick Racing charge in that number 81 machine. And then in the V8 Supercars, you have got Brent Broekman in first position in that number 84 Infinity Esports car. Thomas Van Brussel in second, Fabian J in third, Dave Geimer in fourth in that Team Shark racing car, and then Marius Christensen putting a lot of pressure on Dave Geimer coming out the keyhole, running at your top 5. And I tell you what, Christensen and Geimer are having a great battle at the moment for 4th and 5th position in that.
Never mind that, here comes Goodison to have a go. And that's on the same battle, so this is going to become 3, and actually it looks like, yeah, Viekmans. Is that the position? It is. Viekmans is going to try and get through them whilst they're all trying to take each other off the road here.
Yeah, Viekmans is on a charge in that number 7 Cadillac machine as he's got himself ahead of him. Andy Goodison, Marius Christensen and Dave Geimer all separated by less than 3 seconds on the racetrack. And you see that Viekmans just diving down to the inside as they come down into Thunder Valley. Getting a little bit squirrely there was Goodison, but he managed to keep it on the M28 machine. But Christensen and Dave Geimer, they're having a good battle on the racetrack. But will Viekmans be able to give Christensen that opportunity as he tries to get back around both these cars, get himself past Dave Geimer in the battle for the 4th position in the V8s?
Tell you what, if I was in Christensen's, boots right now, I would be thinking, you know what, give him the room, let him pass. If it's not my mirrors he's filling, it's not me that is slowing down, and I'll just follow him through.
You see that Viekmans is looking down to the inside, coming into the keyhole, and you see Christensen just moving to the left-hand side there, letting Viekmans get past, just as you're saying. Now, will he be able to get himself past Dave Geimer before they come into the S's? It doesn't look as though they're going to be close enough, but as they go for the kink, he's not really gaining any time at all. As you see the V8's there, a bit superior on the straight line speed. Viekmans is going to have to make this work through the S's, get a good run out of the corner, coming down into Thunder Valley, but it looks as though, you see that, he's looking to the left, now he's going to have to look to the right to try and get himself around Dave Geimer, and this could be, if he can get Dave Geimer offline, the moment that Christensen is looking for in the number 61 machine. Meanwhile, Andy Kirchhoff is back on the racetrack in that Radicals machine, as the Radicals currently get in the top 4 positions in the Cadillac class. You see there, Viekman down to the inside, and you've got Dave Geimer offline a little bit, but Christensen wasn't close enough to make the opportunity happen there.
Yeah, it's going to have to be down to outright pace now for Christensen. I mean, he was losing a bit of time every lap anyway to Dave Geimer, so that's possibly the only chance he was going to get this race gone. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see Geimer sail off into the sunset, very happy with his position class at the moment. And it may well be down to Goodison actually catching back up, who just put in an absolute blinder of a lap. Well, yeah, as opposed to Christensen anyway.
Completely, and in the Cadillac Series, it is a bittersweet moment for the Radical Steel Series team, as you have 4 drivers of the Steel Series Radicals cars in the top 5. Nick Vestigi is your race leader, with Joe Jr. in second, Sean Lees in third, Roderick Cronin in fourth, but then Andy Kirchhoff in the number 43 machine, who has been trying so hard to get himself momentum in the series, currently scored 1 lap down in that number 43 machine. Simon Geimer is currently sat in 5th position in the Cadillac class, with Adam Terry in 6th. Stephen Coppins leading the Torque Peak Racing charge in 7th, with Kevin Viekmans in 8th position. But it really does look as though that the top 3 Radical cars are just driving away from the rest of this field.
Yeah, it's one of those things, as soon as you give yourself a lead and everyone behind you is fairly evenly spread out at the moment, Nick Vestigi is doing a fantastic job of just moderating the pace of the guys behind, and no one's making moves. They're not battling, they're just running their own race. They're going to continue to pull away and make it more and more difficult for other teams and other people to score points against them. So if I was in another band camp at the moment, I'd be praying for a mistake, but it does not look like it's going to be coming their way soon.
Yeah, and you just saw that Adam Terry He got himself around Simon Goma in the battle for the 5th position in the Cadillac class. That number 24 SimSpeed.com car of Adam Terry trying to get his way back through the field in the 24 car, but he is 3 seconds behind Roderick Cronin. Adam Terry's last lap of 1 minute 23.992. Roderick Cronin, meanwhile, a 1 minute 24.677. Adam Terry really does have the speed at the moment. He is on a mission to try and get his way back through the field. He qualified in the 6th position, currently riding in 5th, but he thinks that he's got the opportunity to at least spoil another part of the Radical Party out front, as Roderick Cronin is lapping a full second off the pace of that 24 machine.
Well, 1 second off the pace, not even halfway through. That's going to be one to watch
Terry's
later
off, sorry, Terry's off! Oh. Terry's off! And he's into the wall, pushing too hard there as he came down into, I believe, was turn number 10. Adam Terry into the wall in the Cadillac, just having a look back at that. And it looks as though he just got himself a little bit too sideways on apex, and as soon as he got himself onto the grass, there's nothing he can do. He's got himself a little bit of side damage there, but he's down into pit lane now to get himself some repairs. And for Adam Terry, after getting his way back around some of these V8 drivers, getting himself past Vietnamans, he has ruined his race yet again in that 24 machine.
Yeah.
Look at the replay now.
Such bad luck. He just pushed the car into the corner a bit too hard, and when the rear end broke loose, it sounded as though he just kept his foot in power. And it's always your first thought when you're going sideways, especially when you're racing. You want to carry the speed, but if you keep your foot in it on the new time model, any rear-wheel drive car, you're just going to be facing backwards. And he found that out the hard way, and going onto the icy grass that you do have here in iRacing, straight off into the barrier. Fairly substantial damage to that car, and well, what can maybe be described as a good race ruined.
Yeah, and you see there, Nick Prestigia, he's putting a lap on Robert Burton in the number 5 Team Shark car. So Robert Burton is now scored 1 lap down, but he is in the V8 Supercar class. He is currently about 20 seconds behind Andy Griffith, who is in the 13th position in the V8 Supercar class. So they are, Robert Burton is currently in no man's land. Prestigi having a great race at the moment. We saw him have a disappointing time in the Top Gear Racing Super Cup and the Top Gear Racing Touring Car Championship last week. Prestigi getting himself a black flag at Suzuka, putting him out of contention, but he really does look, Prestigi, that he is back on the charge here at Mid-Ohio, trying to get himself the race win and all the bonus points that go with it.
Well, I mean, that's the way to do it. If you've had a couple of dodgy races or rounds, you just need to get your head down and get back on the move, as Andy Kriesthoter has recently gone past Andy Goodison, obviously on a charge to get himself as far up as he can, despite having that horrendous start to the race.
And if you didn't want us to believe it, we're already halfway through round 4 of the touring car, of the Tall Creek Racing Touring Car Championship on Glacier TV. Will Vincent and Oscar in the
we've got Griffiths
today.
off.
Sorry?
Griffiths has gone off. I've got no idea what's happened there, so I believe that now will put him... Yep, indeed it does. That puts him a lap down. It looks like he's rolling to a stop. Is he? No, he's continuing on his way. He's just letting a few cars bite.
Yeah, it looks like he's got himself completely unlined into the carousel. I don't know really why. It just took the weirdest line I've ever seen there. He didn't catch a curb or anything. He just turned about a mile too early. He got the car sideways into the tyre barrier and is now limping it back down to pit lane in that number... No, he stayed out even in that number 14 machine.
Oh, and Viekemans is off again.
Again for Viekemans.
He must have pushed it too hard there. I'm just going to have a quick look back. Indeed he did. He made the same mistake that we had, excuse my memory, go here, Adam Terry. Pretty much the same mistake, only he kept it on the grey stuff as opposed to going off into the wall. So obviously the Cadillac driver's struggling with the crests and undulations of this Mid-Ohio track.
Yeah, and for Viekemans on the number 7 machine, that's not the sort of mistakes that we are used to seeing from him. Normally a very stable race driver, but he's currently sat in class in the 9th position. He sat in 7th position in class as he's trying desperately to get himself around the speedy machine of Thomas Van Brussel, who's currently ahead of him on the racetrack, who in fact is second in class in the V8 Supercars. You see, and Van Brussel just moving to the left-hand side there, letting Viekmans get past him. He's going to have to be careful in case Viekmans spins
And
again.
it looks like Andy Goodison is about to make a move on Christensen. And he's going to the outside.
Oh, that's close
going to
on
be
the outside
brave.
there.
They're very close together. No, Goodison's going to have a little wobble. You can't make the position that way around, mate. You're going to have to try again next time.
Oh,
contact!
Punts him! Oh, what was that there by Goodison? It looked as though he had the outside line, wasn't going to make the pass happen, but didn't break enough into the second part of the S's, spinning that number 61 machine around there of Marius Christensen. Both these cars managed to keep on the racetrack, but for Christensen, he's lost himself about 2-3 seconds there on that charge to try and get Dave Geimer in the 4th position in the V8 car.
That was just complete misreading of the positioning and speed at the apex there. I mean, Christensen was doing nothing wrong, just holding his line, and it looks like Goodison misread the situation and is just punted into the back of him, and this car is just as easy as it's ever been to turn around as Goodison tries to throw it off the track again. He must have a bit of damage from that one.
Yeah, and Rob Sutherland, as you know from the Talk for Racing Supercup, you're saying that after the incident at the start, could that have been payback from Goodison on Christensen? As we know that these V8 Supercar drivers do like being a little bit aggressive at times. Could that have been a little bit of payback there, do you think?
I doubt it quite a lot. I mean, you saw Goodison come to a stop and allow for Christensen to maintain position. I think if it was payback, he would have A, put him into a wall properly, and B, carried on going when he did. So I think that was just a driving error on Goodison's part. I mean, both are going again, and it looks like Goodison's actually come off worse. So I've just been informed that Sean Lees has spun, and he was at the front.
Yeah, and sorry, Fabian J, just looking at him and then the 04 machine, he has just put a lap on Robert Burton. He's trying to charge down Thomas Van Brussel.
And who's that? Sean Lees has gone right off the track again. He's well out of his way now. So this is disaster for Sean Lees. Yeah, down to 4th. It looks like he's about to go down to 5th. He has gone down to 5th, never mind me. He's gone down to 6th position.
And that allows Talk Creek Racing Machine and Stefan Coppens to get himself up into the 5th position, I believe. Simon Geimer, in fact, will get himself up into 4th. So, ever so slowly, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that the Radicals came into this race hoping for has gone from a top 4 to a top 3 for this. And Simon Geimer, in that the 75 Shark machine, he is now starting the 4th position with Stefan Coppens in that Talk Creek Racing number 81 machine up into 5th, as I don't know what's happening there.
Tell you what, the real bad news is for Sean Lees, and that's that not far behind him is a charging Kevin Viekmans, and provided he doesn't throw it off the track anymore, Viekmans is going to be having himself another position here and valuable points in the championship.
Yeah, Viekmans at the moment, he's currently trying to work his way around Rens Broekman, who's your leader in the number 84 Infinity Esports car, in the V8 car. You see that Van Broekman's currently looking down at the inside, has come down into Thunder Valley. He's got himself the line, you can see there, just getting off the throttle does Rens Broekman as they come down now into the penultimate corner, into the carousel, and Viekmans really is on the charge. His last lap of 1 minute 24.095. Sean Lees Stefan Coppens give you a bit of an advance at 1 minute 26.012. Sean Lees is coming across the line at 1 minute 37 was his last lap with that incident, but the lap before that, 1 minute 24.048, that was set on lap 11, and the last 2 laps, he's lost himself about 26 seconds as Sean Lees.
Yeah, also very recently, we have actually had Fabian, excuse my pronunciation here, Jasper Mesquite has managed to spin it a couple of times, and he has dropped back 2 positions, so Geimer has been promoted up into 3rd in the V8 standings, and Marius Christensen has gone past as well. So despite being spun around a few laps ago, in a very promising position at the moment is Marius.
Yeah, Marius Christensen, the number 61 machine, though, is under severe pressure from that 04 machine of Fabian J. And that full car, as you see that, he's just come down to the outside line. It's Christensen getting himself loose onto the throttle there in that 61 machine. Easy pass there for Fabian J in that 04 machine, as Christensen under a little bit of pressure. We've seen that a couple of times here, getting his lines a little bit wrong in that MariusChristensen.net car, and Marius Christensen is back down into the 5th position as Fabian J back on the charge. You can see Dave Geimer, who's having a difficult lap himself at the moment.
Yeah, in the meantime, Goodison's been making a few more mistakes. He must have damage. He has dropped well off the pace that he was doing before and is squirreling around. And in fact, is about to get taken by the leader of our race, Nick Vestigi, who's doing a fantastic job. Yeah, and there you go. Andy Goodison saying over the chat in the race, just to go up his inside, he's going to give the ring to the leader.
I tell you what, though, that battle, which is now developing between Fabian Droswimski and Dave Geimer in the number 23 Shark Machine. The gap between them two across the line was apparently 5 seconds. I think that's something a little bit different. But ahead of them, they've got Robert Burton, who's a lap down. Robert Burton is in that 05 Shark Machine, and Fabian J's got to get himself around him before he's got to get himself down to Dave Geimer. He's currently working his way down the back straightaway, coming down through the kink into the S's. Dave Geimer is having a really solid job in that number 23 machine. Currently sat in the 3rd position. If we got ourselves less than 8 minutes left to go here, if Geimer can keep that together, I think this is going to be a really, really good finish there for that team.
Yeah, it definitely is. And tell you what else has happened. We said it a few laps ago, but here is Beekmans on Lees. Lees is still just not managing to get himself back on track after those very quick succession of 2 spins that he had. So Beekmans now is going to be looking for 6th position in this race.
I think there could be a dive on coming down to the inside of Keyhole there. You see Beekmans, he's getting very close, but having to look to the outside line. Can he really cut under as they come through the Keyhole? It looks like that Beekmans gets good power off. I have to check up just a little bit to avoid running into the back of Sean Lees there in the number 35 Radicals machine. But this is going to be a great battle between these two drivers, and we'll keep on it for just the moment. But these caddies really are squirming under heavy braking at the moment. And through this tricky S section of the racetrack, which forms up the most critical part of the lap, as you see there, Sean Lees is off the racetrack again in that number 35 machine onto the grass, conceding that 6th position. Sean Lees is having such a horrible day here today, just getting himself loose through the first part of the S's as that track just falls away. And I remember I was talking to you yesterday during our I don't know what we call it, Oscar, our warm-up to the track, but you were saying the track falls away through every corner here, and that really is what's catching Sean Lees out in the race at the moment.
Every corner has a crest, and more than any other track, this is one that you can't just turn up to on the day and expect to be doing well on, because you need to know where each of those crests are. And both of these cars, probably a little bit more the Cadillac than the V8 Supercar, simply because you're driving it quicker through the corners as Beekman goes a little bit wide, running some risk there. But you can't apply the power until you are past that crest. You really need to roll it through the corners. And another thing to look forward to now, Stefan Coppens in the TFR car, lapping 126s and 124s from Beekman. So this is no more than a lap away. They can only be 2.5 seconds apart coming down the back stretch at the moment. So another fantastic battle ready to form involving Kevin Beekmans, having a pretty strong comeback considering a dodgy start to the race.
And you see that it's going to be very close. Oh my god, that was close out between Vestigi and Robert Burton as he goes 2 laps down. We've got ourselves less than 3 laps to go. 3 laps at the line here at Mid-Ohio. Robert Burton almost ended the race with Nick Vestigi. So we're going to reset the field for you momentarily. Nick Vestigi in the number 48 Steel Series Radicals car. Is your race leader of Joe Jr. in 2nd. Roderick Cronin in 3rd. Simon Keimer in that number 75 Team Shark car is currently sat in the 4th position, with Stefan Coppens in 5th. Kevin Beekmans in 6th. Sean Lees in 7th and Andy Kane 8th. And then in the V8 class, you got Rens Broekman as your race leader, with Thomas Van Brussel in 2nd, over 13 seconds behind. Dave Geimer in 3rd, Fabian J in 4th, Marius Christensen in 5th, and Danny Bowles in 6th, Andy Goodison, Peter Ridley, Christian Norton, and Andy Streetley rounding out your top 10.
And here is Beekmans already on the back Coppens there. I mean, you know, Beekmans driving his heart out to get himself back into the real solid points in this race, and it looks like there are a couple of V8s getting tussly in front of them as well. That was Newslian and Streetley. Again, please do forgive me for my poor pronunciation of names. And Coppens is going to get through on the first of those V8s before... and Streetley's gone off.
All over the place there. As you just saw, the V8 of Andrew Streetley just trying to get out of the way. He went a little bit too far to the left-hand side. He lost himself that position, I believe, to Christian Nielsen. Yeah, he did lose himself the position. But what that did is it helped Beekman a little bit in that confusion. And Coppins couldn't use those V8 cars to his advantage as they're coming down past the Westland Insurance Bridge, down Thunder Valley, into the right-hand king, now making that turn, 90-degree corner that we've seen so many people go off already, into the carousel, with 2 laps to go here at Mid-Ohio. And Beekman's right at the back as they come through the final corner. This is going to be interesting. Can Beekman keep that pressure up through turn 1, trying to move down into the keyhole?
Well, we've seen him be strong all day. Well, I say all day. Ever since the first 5 or so minutes of the race have been gone, he has been absolutely on it. I mean, if Kevin Beekman had had a bit more luck at the start, he would be up there right now. He would be challenging for a podium, no doubt. He's taking a bit too much curve there. He's just going to lose drive off the corner. Indeed, he has.
Yeah, he lost that opportunity to do the cut and down into the kink there. If you can get yourself onto the right-hand side line, coming through down into the kink, you really could have the opportunity to make the move as you come down into the S's for turn number 4, 5, 6 and 7. See there's smoke all over the racetrack as the V8 ahead of him goes off of the track. That is Andy Griffiths in the number 40 machine. It looks as though these V8 drivers might just come into play as you've got Danny Bulls there. He's slowed down, so he could really come into play now as he's less than 3 seconds behind this battle, sorry, ahead of this battle. Nick Vestici in the meanwhile.
Oh! And that was a very, very good save from Coppins there. He decided to throw it all of sideways, coming over the top of the crest. Oh, I mean, but there it is. He's trying to use the traffic to his advantage. He knows that he's got to do everything in his power to keep Beekman's behind him. Beekman's who's been absolutely charging.
And meanwhile, Nick Vestici in the 48 machine, he is down into the S's for the final time in this race. He's only got himself about 9 corners left to go on this racetrack, doing it nicely in the number 48 Steel Series Radical machine. Meanwhile, we'll keep an eye on that battle between Stephen Coppins and Kevin Beekman as they got V8 on the left-hand side. That is Andy Griffiths as they come through there. Oh, that's so close between them, but Beekman is really got the run now to come down into the kick. Can he try to get that draft and move himself down into the right-hand side? Brisk break a little bit late, coming down into the S's. He might just be close enough as Nick Vestici is going to be coming through the final corners now. And he's going to win round 4 of the Talk Creek Racing Touring Car Championship.
Not convinced he is. It looks like he's carrying on going. Unfortunately, us guys up here in the commentary box, we see the elapsed time, so I think he may well have a further 2 minutes remaining of this. So he's got this lap and the next one to go. Yeah,
I'll take that back. We've got 1 lap left to go here. I just saw the white flag just flick itself back there. Nick Vestici, he's on his final lap now.
Oh, and there's contact between Coppins and this Beekman's, excuse me.
And there you see there, Beekman's going down to the inside, into the carousel. He's going to make himself the move past in that number 7 machine, and he finally managed to get himself around Stephen Coppins. Heartbreak for that Talk Creek Racing number 81 machine as he's just losing out on that 5th position. But I tell you what, Simon Goma has really got himself a little bit closer, but he's still sat in that 4th position. He should be able to hold on to that, so good job by Simon Goma in the 75 machine. Beekman, great job there by him.
Yeah, fantastic. Like we've said that his comeback's been great, but looking back into the V8 supercar field, we have got Fabian J. I'm going to steal your expression there because I'm just going to slaughter that surname otherwise. A battle now with Dave Geimer for the final podium position in the V8 Supercar Series shaping up, and they're going to have at minimum 1 lap to go at the line. I think even Nick Vestici is going to be entering his final lap at the line. He'll have time left over.
As Nick Vestici, he now comes out of the final corner for what is actually the final time. We think
he's got 1 lap.
Very close, 1 more lap. Just hitting the timing barrier there as he came across the line. He's still got 1 more lap left to go there. And by my watch, that was literally 2 seconds between the time he crossed the line and the flag would have come out. You saw the flag stand there. But Vestici still got himself a lap left to go. And he's got 2 V8s battling for position ahead of him. And that is the battle between Fabian J and Dave Geimer. And Vestici, he's literally just got to cruise behind these guys because you never know at what point Fabian J is going to try and dive down to the inside.
In fact, now is that point. And to the
There we
inside
are.
Well slowed down. I mean, these cars are complete boats, and Dave Guyman's going to stick it on the outside, look for the undercut, but it's not going to be there. Fabian knowing where to put his car at this stage. A really nice little bit of a comeback there from Fabian. I mean, he was spun off the track and more than 10 seconds behind Dave at one point, so in less than half the race, he has performed miracles to bring himself back into a well-deserved podium position. He's got a few corners that he needs to do to hold on to it. And in fact, I believe that he's going to have another lap yet to do, because his race will continue at the line, because Nick Vastigi is staying behind them both.
Yeah, Nick Vastigi is going to come across the line finally to complete this race in about 15 seconds time. But I have to say, heartbreak there for Dave Guyman in that number 23 Team Shark machine. Vastigi, he comes across the line for the final time. He now has won. As he just gets himself a little bit of wall contact there. He has won the race in that number 48 Steel Series Radicals machine. Joe Jr., he comes home in the second position. Roderick Cronin in third. Simon Guymer, he's now coming through the final couple of corners in that number 75 machine. So Guymer is going to finish in the fourth position in both the Cadillacs and the V8 class as it looks at the moment. Kevin Viekeman is a determined drive by him, gets himself up into the fifth position, with Stefan Coppens losing out on that top 5 position with 2 laps to go. Sean Lee's in 7th, and Andy Kay rounding out your top 8. And then the V8 Supercars, we've got Renz Broekman coming across the line now. He is going to win the V8 Class there. Dominant performance once again. The gap between himself and Thomas Van Brussel was literally 20 seconds across the line. Van Brussel, he's just coming into the final corner now in that number 16 Speedy Refrigeration car to claim second position. But we have to talk about Fabian J. What a determined drive by that 04 DuPont DH machine there. And I have to say, Fabian J, one of the stars of the race here today.
Yeah, there's been a few of them. Another one to definitely give a shout out to, and we have been all race. That's Kevin Viekeman's. I mean, it seemed to be that everyone was thinking that they could push it as they normally would in those first few laps, and you saw massive nameless lead going off left, right and centre, and it looks like Dave Guyman, despite being deprived of that third position, very happy.
Yeah, Dave Guyman in the number 23 machine. He's going to be slightly satisfied with that, about both himself and his brother managed to get top 5 positions. Bit of disappointment for Robert Burton in the other Team Shark machine. He came all the way down home in 12th, as we're just waiting for the fields to come across the line to finish their race. We've still got a couple of drivers, as you see. I believe that's Peter Ridley. He's just coming down to pit lane now. Danny Bowles just putting it out on the racetrack very quickly. But you've got Christian Nielsen. I believe that he's completed his race as well. But let's run through your Cadillac field. In the first position, Nick Vastigi, your race winner, the captain himself, and Joe Jr. in the number 17 Radical Steel Series machine was 4.7 seconds. And then pretty much the same gap between Joe Jr. and Roderick Cronin running out your top 3. All 3 of them are the Radical Steel Series drivers, with Simon Guymer in the 4th spot. Kevin Viekeman's rounding out your top 5, with Stefan Coppens in 6th, Sean Lee's in 7th, and Andy Kirchhoff in 8th. And then eliminated Adam Terry, Mark Fletcher and Frederick Fellerstedt. All incidents of early drama here at this race. Don't forget, Mark Fletcher started in the pole position for this race and Frederick Fellerstedt in 2nd. So your top 2 drivers failed to finish the race. And Adam Terry as well, who started in the 6th spot, having a difficult day. And then in the V8 Supercars, once again, Renz Broekman in the number 84 machine, your race winner, with Thomas Van Brussel in 2nd. Fabian J in 3rd, Dave Guyman in 4th, Marius Christensen in 5th, Andy Goodison in 6th, Peter Ridley in 7th, Danny Bowles in 8th, Andy Shootley in 9th, Christian Knowlton in 10th, William Plano, Robert Burton, Andy Griffith, Simon Hill, Robert Lowry, running out your top 15. Oscar, talk.
Well, incredibly impressive race. I mean, for me, first time, can't get much more entertaining than that. Touring cars at their best, and I mean, predominantly clean racing. The only people going off were people overcooking it by themselves, really, minus 1 or 2 taps that we had in the middle there. So fantastic racing, and I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that we've got some of the stars of our race here in the commentary box with us.
Yeah, we're going to start with our race winner, Nick Vastigi. After your disappointment at Suzuka with that jump start, bounce back, race victory, great job.
Thank you. Yeah, I really needed this. I've had 3 drop weeks so far, so this is pretty good. Shame that we couldn't have a battle for first with 3 people. It was shaping up to be a battle with 3 people, but they crashed and I didn't. Well, kind of, but I survived.
You say that, but after what's been a difficult campaign so far for the Radical team, you had 3 Radical Steel Series drivers in the top 3, with Sean Lees after a difficult mid-portion race coming home in 7th. So it's been a pretty good day for the Radical drivers.
Yeah, it's been excellent. We were actually complaining a lot on our TeamSpeak because no one was really that comfortable at this track with the car, but turned out pretty good.
And how difficult was those gradients coming off the corners? Because it did look as though it caught out one of your teammates a good couple of times, and it really did look as though you had to have some very good car control as you went over the crest on some of these corners.
Yeah, you had to take it pretty easy at times. But I managed to correct it a few times, but yeah, it could have gone either way. It's really tricky.
And next week, from going from one of the shortest tracks on the Talk Creek Racing Touring Car Championship, we go to one of the longest Spa-Francorchamps next week. That's going to be a crazy, crazy race, isn't it?
Yes, because there's the long straights and the V8s are faster than us there, so that should be interesting.
And the standing start on that is just going to add a whole extra layer into it. But again, after your Suzuka race last week, did you come into this race with a different mindset? Did you, have a different set of objectives at the start of the race to get yourself through that initial period to then settle down, or was it just a case of going for the win?
I actually prepared worse for this one than I did for Suzuka. I was much more comfortable at Suzuka because my setup felt right there, and it was kind of wonky here. But yeah, the race was about surviving and just keeping it straight and keeping it on the track, and that was the main thing actually. And not hitting the V8s because that was actually pretty hard.
Well, congratulations on your race win in that number 48 Radical Steel Series machine. And then from one Radical driver to another, Roderick Cronin came home in the 3rd position, number 25 car. Well done.
Yeah, thanks. Went pretty okay. I promised last time I would practice more for this track, but I practiced less because I just didn't have any time. So I came in half an hour before the race, and it wasn't as bad as everyone said. They were all complaining, like Nick said on TeamSpeak, and I didn't have much motivation to join them. But it wasn't too bad, and well, if you just stay out of trouble, you can finish in 3rd, as I showed.
And not only did you finish in third even, you finished within 10 seconds of your teammate Vestigi and 15 seconds ahead of the nearest competition. You've really got to be satisfied with that.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, Nick got held up in the end by a V8, but still, no, great race.
And on these shorter tracks, the V8s really do come into play a lot more than they would, for example, at Spa next week with such a long track length. Do you have to prepare differently for these type of races, knowing that the traffic will come into effect a lot more?
Well, you can't really practice the traffic. It's always different in a racing situation. People tend to give more room in a practice situation than in a race, of course, because they are doing their own race. But it went pretty much okay.
And next week at not Suzuka even, Spa-Francorchamps, I will get that right. Completely different type of racetrack, one of the fastest racetracks we will go to in the Talk Creek Racing Touring Car Championship. Is that a track you're looking forward to?
It's one of my favorites, but I guess most road racers will say that. But with this car, again, if you want to do just hot lapping to practice, it's again difficult. Well, just like last week on Suzuka, that you have to do the long out lap with cooling down the tires, and then you can go for your hot lap. So in the qualify, you only have a few attempts to go for a good lap. And so normally I would say yes, Spa, but with this car, I prefer a shorter track like today.
But unlike qualifying, unlike at Suzuka last week, qualifying isn't as important at at Spa, I'm guessing, because of those huge braking zones into La Source, down into La Coume, and also into the bus stop chicane as well. So there's a couple more big overtaking opportunities, I'm guessing.
That's very true. The track is also a bit wider, and yeah, the hard braking points are, I think, a bit easier for this car as well than on Suzuka.
Well, well done on your third position, and once again, from one Radical driver to another, completing out your Radical Steel Series 1, 2, 3, Joe Jr., hello.
Hello.
Came home second today, less than 5 seconds behind your teammate Vestigi. You got to be satisfied with that one.
Yes, I managed second this week. After last week, I really did not want to mess up second position again.
And it looked as though that number 17 Radical's car was pretty well balanced all race long. We didn't see any mistakes from you, even though a couple of your teammates had a couple of scary moments.
That's because I was driving slow. Sean was catching me in the first part, even Roderick was catching me a bit, and the traffic was sometimes terrible. It's difficult pass here, but I was really being careful and slow. I didn't want to mess it up.
And coming out of lap number 2, even though you had Andy Kristoff, sat down the pit lane and having a Radical 1, 2, 3, 4, did that change your tactics compared to had Fletcher and Follestad of being able to, not make mistakes?
Well, I got past Kevin on the first lap somehow, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and hold 4th position for the whole race because I knew I was nowhere near Mark, Nick, and Fred. But when I saw them drop out, I was like, I'm slowing down even more now because I don't want to lose second position. But too bad to my teammates, though, really.
And after you said you had a bit of a difficult day last time out at Suzuka, come to Mid-Ohio, different type of racetrack. We're getting to a different type of racetrack again at Spa-Francorchamps Champs. Very long straightaway, some very fast sweeping corners, but some very technical sections as well. That whole kind of La Coume down to Radion section, not down to Radion, even La Coume all the way down to Fouon is one of my favourite bits of racetrack in the world. Are you looking forward to Spa next week?
Yes, I did a 2-hour race there about 4 weeks ago, and it was awesome. I really can't complain. It's nice there.
So you're looking forward to the 30-minute race, even though you wish it was a 24-hour race or something then?
Yeah. Actually here, 30 minutes almost felt like an hour and a half. I was sweating absolutely buckets.
It's a lovely sight that you've given to us all there to imagine.
There comes Oscar trying to push his way in.
Yeah, I thought I might.
Well done. It's more than Rob ever does. But well done, Joe, on your second position, rounding out a Radical Steel Series 1, 2, 3 in this race. From jubilation to heartbreak, Mark Fletcher, you had a great start to the race. You led the field to the green flag, and then it kind of all went wrong for you.
Yeah, it didn't go so well, to be fair, this week.
Take us through it.
Well, I kind of thought if I can get to the front in qualifying, then I'll be able to get away. But as you were saying in the cast, the camber change is so different on these corners. The qualifying sets just weren't working after, a hard push first lap. And just outbraked myself into that corner, and the camber took me straight away. Touched the grass, hit the brakes, and stopped.
And after qualifying on pole position, I mean, even though you had the Radical charge behind you, that must be disappointing for you. And were you hoping to, at least get a podium finish at this race?
Well, yeah, I was hoping for that. After such a great race at Suzuka last week, I know some of the guys weren't there last week, but I thought, this is going to be, a cracking race. But like you said, my mirrors were full of Radical drivers, and it put the pressure on a bit, to be honest.
How do you bounce back from that? Something that I've always had difficulty with after a strong start to race and losing it, getting back into that frame of mind to rebuild yourself up for next week. Do you tense yourself up, or do you just throw this race away and look forward to Spa?
Yeah, I think Spa's going to be a lot like Suzuka. It's a big, flat, open track, which, you know, the caddies seems to go well around. So it's just going to be putting in the practice and see if we can do the same again next week, but finish the race.
I haven't asked anyone else about this. I'm going to ask you. Erouge, Radio, how fun is it going to be in the caddy?
It's going to be interesting. I think there's, you know, on the first lap, it's going to be tight going up there, and I think you're going to see it too wide most of the way around, to be honest. You know, there's a lot of tough corners at Spa. It's not my favourite track, but, you know, we'll have to see how it is.
Yeah, and I tell you what, from La Source all the way down through to through Lacombe, down through Visage into Fouan, into into Fangya. It's going to be crazy all race long. I wish you all the best for that. It's that point of the race where you're only starting to shout at me. So we are going to be back in 1 hour and 10 minutes time for a very special race that we don't do very often. So we're going to show you a bit of Legends racing on iRacing, which we don't do very often. Oscar, you're looking forward to that one, aren't you?
Yeah, well, provided that I don't pass out in the meantime, I'll still be about to watch the true class of the field that we have here in iRacing.
Yeah, some of the best iRacers in the world, the Legends drivers, will be doing a demonstration of their class in the Advanced Legends Cup. That will be coming to you on Glacier TV in 1 hour and 9 minutes. So don't forget to tune in to watch that one. We'll be back also for round 4 of the Talk Cruise Racing Touring Car Championship this Saturday, which will be again at Mid-Ohio. And then let's not forget, this Saturday night we're going to have the big one, the World 600, 400 laps, 600 miles of Charlotte. Charlotte International Speedway. I forgot. Charlotte Motor Speedway. That's one. My favourite track, and I've forgotten what it's called. Charlotte Motor Speedway, 400 laps, 600 miles in the NASCAR Impala A class. That is going to be one truly great race. Some of the best iRacers in the world racing for the big one the day before the Coke 600. And that's going to be on Glacier TV through the night. It's going to be about a 4-hour race. We're looking forward to that one. No After Ben IndyCar Series. I'll be back with you next week from Chicagoland Speedway. Meanwhile, all it is time for me to say goodbye from me.
And also goodbye from me.
And we'll see you in 1 hour and 8 minutes. Have fun.